A Greek warrior bleeds on a battlefield, reaches down, crushes a white-flowered plant between his fingers, and presses it into his wound. The bleeding stops in seconds. This is not mythology. This is Achillea millefolium, Yarrow, the plant that kept armies alive for 3,000 years before aspirin existed. Today, it grows wild across every continent, yet pharmacies sell synthetic versions of what it does naturally. The warrior plant was erased from collective memory the moment chemistry became more profitable than foraging. Yarrow contains over 120 active compounds, including Achillea, a hemostatic agent that constricts blood vessels faster than most modern coagulants. Ancient Greek physicians documented its use in treating battle wounds. Roman legions carried dried yarrow in their medical kits. Native American tribes applied yarrow poultices to injuries and called it life medicine. Medieval monks grew it in monastery gardens specifically for wound care. But somewhere between the trench and the laboratory, we stopped trusting the plant that never failed us. We replaced free, abundant medicine with patented pills. The shift was not about efficacy. It was about control. Yarrow is not delicate. It thrives in disturbed soil, roadside gravel, and abandoned fields where nothing else survives. The plant produces clusters of tiny white or pink flowers that contain flavonoids, sesquiterpene lactones, and volatile oils. These compounds work synergistically to stop bleeding, reduce inflammation, and prevent infection. When crushed leaves are applied to a fresh wound, Achillea triggers rapid vasoconstriction. Blood vessels contract, clotting accelerates. Simultaneously, anti-inflammatory agents reduce swelling and pain. The plant's antimicrobial properties suppress bacterial growth in open wounds. This is not folk belief. Laboratory studies confirm yarrow extract inhibits Staphylococcus aureus and Escherichia coli. The alkaloids in yarrow leaves reduce fever by promoting sweating. In traditional medicine, this was called breaking a fever. Modern science calls it diaphoresis. The mechanism remains identical. Nature designed a complete first aid kit in a single weed. We abandoned it for patented single-molecule drugs. Achillea. The genus name honors Achilles, the Greek hero who used yarrow to heal his soldiers during the Trojan War. Legend states the centaur Chiron taught Achilles the medicinal properties of this plant. Historical texts confirm Greek armies carried yarrow on campaigns. Roman military physician Dioscorides documented yarrow in De Materia Medica, his encyclopedia of medicine. He prescribed it for hemorrhages, dysentery, and ulcers. During the American Civil War, yarrow was known as soldier's woundwort. Field medics crushed fresh leaves directly onto gunshot wounds when bandages ran out. In World War I, British medics used yarrow tinctures to treat shrapnel injuries. The plant earned the nickname Herbal stitches. Then antibiotics arrived. Sulfa drugs and penicillin replaced battlefield botanicals. Pharmaceutical companies could not patent a wild plant. They could patent synthetic molecules. Yarrow disappeared from medical textbooks within a generation. The warriors who depended on it were dead, and their knowledge died with them. Modern medicine does not reject yarrow because it fails. It rejects yarrow because it cannot be monopolized. A plant growing freely on every roadside cannot generate quarterly profits. Pharmaceutical synthesis requires isolation, modification, and patenting. Yarrow offers whole plant chemistry, impossible to patent. The FDA does not recognize traditional use as valid evidence. Clinical trials cost millions. No corporation funds trials for unpatentable remedies. The result is a system that acknowledges aspirin, which mimics plant salicylates, but ignores yarrow, which performs multiple functions simultaneously. Aspirin thins blood. Yarrow stops bleeding while reducing inflammation. One is a single-action drug. The other is a biological system. We chose the product we could sell. The plant that saved soldiers for millennia now grows unnoticed in ditches. Modern research validates what warriors knew intuitively. A 2013 study published in the Journal of Ethnopharmacology confirmed yarrow extract reduces bleeding time in laboratory models. Researchers isolated flavonoids and sesquiterpene lactones as primary active agents. Another study in phytotherapy research demonstrated Yarrow's anti-inflammatory effects rival ibuprofen in reducing prostaglandin synthesis. The plant inhibits COX-2 enzymes, the same target as non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. Yarrow accomplishes this without the gastric side effects associated with NSAIDs. A 2017 analysis in Pharmaceutical Biology found Yarrow essential oil exhibits broad-spectrum antimicrobial activity. The compounds thujone and camphor disrupt bacterial cell membranes. Traditional wound care was scientifically sound. The data exists, peer-reviewed and published. Yet Yarrow remains categorized as alternative medicine, while synthetic analogs dominate pharmacy shelves. The distinction is not botanical. It is economic. Yarrow is bitter. The bitterness signals the presence of medicinal compounds. Fresh leaves taste sharp, slightly astringent with a faint minty undertone. This is not food for pleasure. This is food as pharmacy. Dried yarrow flowers can be brewed into tea that tastes earthy and resinous. The tea induces sweating, useful for breaking fevers. Some herbalists add honey to mask the bitterness. The leaves can be chewed directly and applied as a poultice. The immediate reaction is a numbing sensation as alkaloids interact with tissue. This numbing effect reduces pain in wounds. Yarrow tincture, made by steeping leaves in alcohol, concentrates the active compounds. A few drops in water create a powerful anti-inflammatory drink. The flavor is intense, medicinal, unmistakably botanical. Modern palates reject it. Warriors did not care about taste. They cared about survival. Yarrow grows wild across North America, Europe, and Asia. It prefers sunny locations with poor soil. Lawns, roadsides, meadows, and waste ground all support yarrow colonies. The plant is perennial, returning each spring from rhizomes. No cultivation is necessary. Foraging yarrow requires only identification skills. Look for feathery, fern-like leaves and flat-topped clusters of white or pink flowers. Harvest leaves and flowers during peak bloom, typically June through September. Dry the plant material in a shaded, ventilated area. Store dried yarrow in glass jars away from light. For wounds, crush fresh leaves to release juice and apply directly. For fever, steep 1 tablespoon of dried flowers in hot water for 10 minutes. For inflammation, make a tincture using 1 part dried yarrow to 5 parts vodka. Steep for 4 weeks. The plant asks nothing in return. No fertilizer, no irrigation, no pesticides. Yarrow is the definition of resilient medicine. Every system of power depends on controlling resources. Medicine is no exception. A population dependent on prescriptions is a population dependent on institutions. Yarrow represents the opposite philosophy. It grows without permission. It heals without prescription. It costs nothing. This makes it dangerous to pharmaceutical profit models. The erasure of yarrow from public knowledge was deliberate. Medical schools stopped teaching herbal medicine in the early 20th century. Botanical pharmacopoeias were replaced by synthetic drug manuals. The transition was presented as progress. But progress for whom? Soldiers who once carried yarrow now carry Celox granules, a commercial hemostatic agent. Celox works. Yarrow works. One costs $40 per packet. The other is free. Yarrow never disappeared. It merely stopped being recognized. The plant still thrives in the same places warriors found it centuries ago. Its chemistry remains unchanged. Its efficacy is undiminished. What changed was human awareness. We forgot to look down. The industrial medical system trained generations to seek solutions in pharmacies, not meadows. But knowledge returns when necessity demands it. Preppers rediscovered yarrow for wilderness first aid. Herbalists preserved its use in traditional medicine networks. Homesteaders planted it in medicinal gardens. The plant survived the erasure. Now it offers a choice. Continue dependence on patented pharmaceuticals, or reclaim the warrior's medicine that grows at your feet. The battlefield may have changed, but the plant remains ready. Growing yarrow is an act of medical sovereignty. Harvesting it is an act of ancestral reclamation. Using it is a rejection of the belief that healing must be expensive. The warrior plant does not ask for loyalty to a brand. It asks only for recognition. Yarrow is not a replacement for emergency medicine. It is a return to the foundational knowledge that survival does not require a prescription. The soil remembers what we forgot. The plant still offers itself freely. The question is whether we remember how to see it.